My wife and I took a wonderful trip this past winter to Vietnam and Cambodia. We came back with 2,000 pictures. And our dream was to create a book that would be a combination of a journal of text that my wife had taken while we were on our trip, along with selected photographs. And so I went out and bought a new computer and photographic software to be able to edit pictures, to be able to write this book. And the first computer that I bought came with a schematic of here's how you turn it on and not much else. It had no 800 number to be able to call to get additional information. There was no one to show you how to be able to use it. There was no manual that said here's the steps that you need to be able to go through. Long story short, at the end of 4 weeks, we set that computer aside and stopped using it. Then we went to another store and bought another computer, and here the experience was completely different. In this store, they set the computer up with the software. They then had a human being to show you how to be able to use it. They had an 800 number that you could call to be able to get answers to questions, either small or large. They had a website that gave you additional information, and the software came with tutorials. Long story short, my wife then, who was not technology savvy, ended up writing a 150-page book that we had published that is absolutely superb. Now, if you think about most learning experiences in corporations, I think they probably are much more like the first experience that we had with the computer, where somebody will have a learning experience and then they go back home and it's completely figure it out on yourself in terms of how you're going to use it. They're not going to have the support of people around them that can help them. They probably are not going to have a manager that's going to help them apply what they learn. They're not going to have a process to be able to go to peers or other experts to be able to help them, which would be much more akin to the second experience that we had. And so the idea behind deploying active support is that we plan for and put into place those processes and people who can really make the learning come alive, can help people produce great results because of it. One company that has done this really well is Agilent Technologies. Teresa Roach is their Chief Learning Officer, and she's changed the role of their trainers or facilitators to go from being what she would call a sage on the stage to a guide by the side. And their facilitators, their trainers, are responsible for staying with people after the learning program to be able to help support them so that they can turn the great learning into great results. It is no longer enough just to say this person can figure it out on their own. If we really want to increase the impact that learning is going to have, we need to surround them with the same kind of support that companies are doing in other areas. Here are 3 things that you can do to provide support for participants. The first is to think through what kind of job aids can you give them, so when they get back to work they have something tangible to be able to use that will help them better apply what they learn. The second is, how can you teach people to go find resources within their organization to be able to help them? So instead of them going back and saying the application of learning is an individual sport, to be able to say, in fact, it's a team sport, to teach them and equip them so that they can then get other people to help them. And the third thing is to be able to equip their managers to be able to support them with encouragement, with specific advice, and then accountability by showing interest to say what we really are after is the improved results that you're going to be able to deliver.